So, if your fantasy team is in trouble, like a few of mine, you're 1-5, 2-4, off to a bad start. It's okay. It's not too late. I'm going to give you guys some trade targets at the running back position that can turn your season around and get you in the fantasy playoffs. Because right now, that is all that matters, right? Winning the championship out the window right now. We're just trying to survive each week, get to the fantasy playoffs, and then have a shot when we get there. The main thing is going to be looking at bye weeks, right? You want to get players that are pretty much going to be in your lineup. You don't have the luxury to wait on players on their bye week, or if they're injured, you have to have players that you can rely on every week, pretty much till the fantasy playoffs from now on. So, looking at players that are past their bye, or we're talking players that their bye is later in the season, maybe 13, week 14, and you'll have a more clear picture of your team if you have a playoff shot, or you can also still make a move in week 11 or 12 if you need to move any of those players. So you'll be able to know and gauge your team when you are getting closer to your fantasy playoffs. Let's get started with a couple honorable mentions. These two players, obviously, I really like a lot. One of them's off to a little bit of a slow start, but they're going to be my honorable mentions because they're still coming off an injury. I'm not sure if they're going to play yet. I'm a little bit worried about them just being limited, right? Their first game back. So these two players are risky, but keep an eye on the reports. If they're good to go, they're full participants in practice. These are also some good options. So obviously, Jonathan Taylor. So we know Jonathan Taylor got off to a slow start last season as well. It was okay for him, right? After those first, he had a big week one, 3 duds, right? And then he just exploded, ends up being the RB1 on the year. So I'm not too worried about Taylor as far as him being able to produce, but I am worried about him being limited maybe that first game back. So he is a little risky. As well as Swift, he's still banged up. He's got the ankle concern as well as a shoulder concern. So Swift is also risky. So depending on your level of risk, and if you like to gamble, right, those two players are honorable mentions for you. So now getting into our top three, and these are my favorite players that I'm trying to acquire right now through trade if my team is just in shambles. So at number three, I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs. So obviously, Josh Jacobs he just came off his bye week and he has been on a tear right now. Back to back 30-point performances for Josh Jacobs. And the main thing, right, he's getting a lot of carries, 28 and then 21 carries. And the best thing about it, the last 3 weeks, guys, the biggest concern that we've had with Jacobs and why a lot of people were fading him was the targets, right? Not getting any targets, but 5, 6, 5 the last 3 games. So you like the usage. He's got a good little stretch of games coming up too, guys. He's got Houston. New Orleans is a little bit tougher than Jacksonville, then the Colts, Denver, Seattle, the Chargers. So definitely a good little stretch of games coming up for Jacobs that could help you get some wins if this usage continues, which I anticipate it will. So Josh Jacobs definitely one of my favorite targets right now to get in a trade if I am trying to make the playoffs. And at number two, our number two RB buy that we're trying to acquire if we're trying to make that playoff push, guys, and try to turn our fantasy season around, is going to be the rookie running back, Damian Pierce. So, Damian Pierce, also, guys, off his bye. So, you get him the rest of the season. And he's had some smash games, man. He's basically been around 20 points per game the last 3 weeks once his usage has come up. He had 20 carries, 14, then 26 carries last week, right? Or week 5, 26 carries. And the best thing about Damian Pierce, much like Jacobs, guys, finally getting some targets. He had 6 targets and then 5 targets the last 2 weeks, as well as you heard Coach Lovie Smith said he wants to get him 20 carries basically a game. So you definitely like that. He wants to have him involved. It's definitely helped their offense. It's pretty much all their offense, right? Is Damian Pierce right now. So definitely Damian Pierce looking like a solid player for you and a solid piece that could help your team make the playoffs. And coming in at my number one, old reliable Derrick Henry, coming in at 28 years old, still doing it, man, killing. Last 3 performances for Derrick Henry, 25, 23, 27. So definitely great to see. He's also getting some receiving work, right? They're also getting him a little bit in the receiving game. So Derrick Henry is this easy trade target that you could get right now. Some people, I've seen a lot of people too trying to sell him right now in league. So Derrick Henry definitely attainable right now. and he's got a solid stretch of games, guys. He's got the Colts, the Houston Texans, the Kansas City Chiefs, then Denver, Green Bay. So a solid little stretch of games coming up for Derrick Henry that could definitely help you get some W's for your much needed team. So any of those players, guys, if you can acquire them, definitely try to do so. You need to make a push now if you want to make your fantasy playoffs. Don't worry about winning the championship or being at full strength for the championship. Really, all that matters right now is each week getting your wins. So these are some running backs that I'm definitely going to try to acquire myself to help my team get a better chance at making the playoffs. And hopefully these guys will help you. So be sure to follow, guys, if you want to check out my wide receivers that I'm going to be targeting. And be sure to give a thumbs up on the video if you guys enjoyed it or if you got any good information out of it. And hopefully we can help you guys to make your fantasy playoffs. And you never know, maybe win that championship. See you.